Hi there, my name is Jamie Devine. Welcome to I Am Divinity.
You know, here at I Am Divinity, what we do is we help you unlock your inner power.
So that's what we're doing.
When I come here to the course, you have you break out how mentally you from my childhood.
That's the power. Imagine how healthy our community will be. Like, they're so pure and so powerful.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Don Smith, that's Don with 2 N's, and I'm here to share with you what I've developed over 44 years that I call I Am Divinity. I say that I Am Divinity because I'm divine and so are you. No matter what you've done and what you haven't done, you are divine, you always were and you always will be. And it gets all covered up. And so all of those trips to the personal developments and all of those things, and they don't hold. And did you ever question yourself instead of just going back and getting the next one and the next one and the next one and none of them hold? Well, there's a reason for that. A very big reason is because you're working at a belief level of who you think you are. That's what beliefs are, both negative and positive. They're who we think we are. So going from a negative belief to a positive belief is not the answer whatsoever. It's about the knowing of who we truly are. There's knowing. It isn't a belief. And so all of these ideas of doing this and all of those trips to the wherevers, it's like dealing with a piece of something. But this is not a piece of anything. This is the total knowing of who you are. And what I've developed over this 44 years is a process that's instant and it's permanent. Now, the permanent comes in by you doing something for holding it. But I'm telling you, there's people have this for years and it's instant. And how do I say that with such boldness? Well, put it in the category of a phobia. 90% of the population has a phobia of something. Bugs, snakes, rats, heights, water, whatever. And my question to you is, how long did it take for you to create that phobia? Yes, you're right. 1 instant. And yet everybody questions me about that. And yet that's all it took. 1 instant. So now, what I did was, I reverse engineered near-death experiences and phobias to find out how they worked, and I reverse engineered it. So if you can create a phobia in a second, and most times it's before the age of reason, which is 4, 5, 6. Think about that. At that young of an age, that in 1 second you created a lifetime phobia. Well, it's a lifetime phobia because you're holding on to it for protection. That's how the ego works. It's going to get you to hold on to something that's harmful for you so it can keep you aware in case it happens again. That's how toxic your ego is. And it's not your ego, it's the ego. Sorry, my mistake. Because you are much more than an ego. And so what it's about is if you create it in a second, why would it take any longer than a second to reverse it if you knew how you did it? That's what I do. That's one of the pieces. And then the other is the permanentness of it all. Well, I'm going to ask you a question. What color are your eyes? What color are those eyes of yours? Now you tell me how long you've had that color. Yeah, your whole life. That's permanent. Would you agree? But look at the permanentness of a phobia. You had it from age 4 to 84. That's 80 years. You'd think that was permanent. But it was created in a second, and you can reverse it in a second. So it's not. That's what I'm saying. So that's what we're talking about. Something that's instant, something that's permanent, and it's about who you truly are. Your divinity, your divine. Don't ever forget it. Always remember it. And all of these other things are happening because you have an attachment to the personal development system of beliefs and changing a belief from a negative to a positive. It's not going to hold. It will not hold. Yes, there will be improvements. Congratulations on doing that. That's searching. I'm talking about a shift from this to a shift from this. Who we're not to who we are. And then doing a simple exercise. Takes 5 minutes, 3 times a day to hold it. And there you have it. That's it. That's who you are. That's why it's like the color of your eyes. The color of your eyes has been that way all this time, and you still have that color. Well, it's the same. Who you truly are is permanent. Who your beliefs are not, because it's not true. No matter how much you believe, the negative or the positive about those beliefs, they're false. And so, I'm here to share with you to go on a journey under 2 hours. Now I'm talking about, like I've worked with 15 different pro athletes or Olympians, okay? That's just in sports. And then mega billionaires, millionaires, and health, cancer. You know, one guy, yeah, I met him in the garbage room in Vancouver. I opened up the door and there he is. And he's so gray and he's humped over and he's like, you'd think he was going to die any second. I said, holy shit, man, you don't look too good. What's going on? He said, oh, I got prostate cancer. I've had it for 16 months. I've had 32 radiation treatments. And I don't know how much time I have. I said, don't listen to that bullshit. Can I ask you a few questions? Within that 15 minutes, I had asked him all these questions. And all I knew about him was his name was Al. 3 weeks later, I get a call from him. The same guy. He said, hi, Don, this is Al Valjanic. I met you in the garbage room 3 weeks ago. Yeah? Well, I don't have any cancer. Now, I could fill this room with those stories. Fill this room with those stories. And you can access this magnificent, powerful, divine energy called I Am Divinity. And what's natural about it, it matches who you truly are. That's the key. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting that you will know who you are and it will override and supersede who you think you are? Now, if you're tied up with that persona that you've developed, in a second, I might add, and kept it all this time, like I just worked with a guy that when he was 9, his mom died, and he decided to harden his heart. And he hardened his heart for the next 40 years. And that's what all his issues were about. We went back, cleaned that up, boom, it's gone. All the symptoms were all gone. That's how easy it is, and that's how simple this is. So if you want to continue with your hard work and all of those kind of things, and going back and paying for this again, that again, and this again, and the counseling and the therapy and coaching and all of that, go ahead, by all means. But if you want to be free, free to be you, free to be who you truly are. And those eyes, every time you look in the mirror, it will remind you how magnificent you are. And that's how this process is about, whether it's in an individual or whether it's in group. And I welcome you to join us in this journey of raising humanity's consciousness from its existing 210 to 700. That's right, you heard it right. 210 to 700. So it's an awesome journey. We're looking for 100 that are willing to go to 700 to raise humanity's consciousness. So I welcome you, and I'll see you on our journey.
the morning stars, love expanded, infinite, come to earth, a hero's journey, finding what has always been, finding what has always been, finding what has always been. Feel me now, I am the avatar. No ego here remains. I've washed away my pain, and now I am alive again. My power is insane, ineffably contained.
No, because it's a little loose.
Oh, you want to send another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one's, I'm just
You just get
looking out for the chair.
Uh,
Not for me.
this chair.
Looking out for the chair. We live?
Yeah, we are live.
Oh,
Welcome, everyone.
hello, ladies and gents.
It is day 60. 2 months.
How awesome is that? I mean, all three videos are awesome, but Tim's music video for Avatar, how freaking cool is that? Way to go, Tim Steinreich.
How long is it since he did that first process with you guys?
It was December 31st, 2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about it. He came out with What was the first one? Letting Go was like a week after his process.
Yeah, the letting go of the ego one, yeah.
And then after he came out
First
with
month
Jane.
for sure. I can't remember the timeline, but yeah, and then it was 2 years or so that he didn't do any songs. And then he came on our stream, I think it was around day 15 or something, was it, maybe?
Something like that.
And then he's made 2 songs with this music video for one of them within a week or two. It's like amazing.
Yeah, wow. Hello, Paul and
Hey,
Donna.
Paul. Hey, Donna.
Superman and Superwoman. Good to have you.
So my brother Chase messaged me
Oh
the
wow.
last couple days, and he's been sending me like these quotes. He's been going to church and everything. I was like really impressed. I mean, coming from where he came from before he did the process. I mean, he was days away from killing himself with drugs, like literally.
Yeah.
So he's and I wasn't sure, right? Because he came out last year, and then he ran away from it for a while. But just yesterday he hit me up and back on track. Doing
That's
divine focus.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
This is divine focus.
Yeah.
Wow, you can never really call anyone out, you know what I mean? Like they just never know.
Well, it's one decision away, right? Literally turn it all around in 1 second.
Yeah.
But I've seen people go months and years without tuning back into it.
Yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame, but we all have free will and
Yes. And my mother called yesterday.
oh
Remember I told you she called last week? Or yeah, like 3-4 days ago, we were at the airport. And she looks like 10 years older on the call. I was like, holy shit, mom, like, you know, look so good. And she called me back yesterday and looked 20 years younger.
no way.
Literally, like just whoa, like, and I told her like what happened. She said, well, when I called you last time, a few days ago, I was going through this big heavy thing with my neighbor. Her neighbor's doing like trying to build a wall like on her side of the property, and it's this big mess.
Through the wall.
Yes, it's Trump energy, but I'm not gonna go there. Beep that up. So she turned it around because she called yesterday and she was looking great and totally in high spirits. And then she tells me about my uncle who like his whole life that I knew him, and I grew up with him for a few years when I was younger, 4 years. Like just fast food, like
Is that the
unhealthy
same uncle you
lifestyle.
lived with?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
like, you know, party addict, all that stuff. And my mom tells me that he's currently doing is there 7-day or 10-day water fast. He's like,
Whoa.
yeah, he's like 4 or 5 days in, all his pain and aches have gone away, that he's telling my mom this. And I mean, this
Dude.
guy's always been overweight, like, you know, addicted to junk food. So I was really impressed to hear that. And then the first hit that I got is, I guess our streams are doing something to collective.
But I was just thinking that I was like, dude, like the fact that we're holding the light for so long now is
Yeah.
like it's definitely shifting the rest of the people on Earth. So
Well, my uncle's a massive testimony for that because he's never done the process or anything. I don't know if he's came on and watched streams without me knowing or whatever, but
yeah,
even let's just say he hasn't seen anything. He's a great testimony of like we're having an impact on the collective. You know, because
yeah,
he was very far on the other side of the health spectrum.
yeah.
And I've been talking health for, you know, since 2010 when I first became vegan and raw and fasting and all that. And it's been all those years, you know, about 15 years that he hasn't done anything with that side of things. And now he's doing a fast. And I'm like, holy shit, that's awesome.
That is badass.
Yeah.
Wow, how amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just gotta keep holding the light.
and-
Oh,
And Don shared about Rum on the stream, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so Don's wife hadn't done the process and she's been holding on to the whole brain survival, and you know that was causing a problem in the relationship. Don got to the point where he's like, hey, like got to go through this for us to work, right? And then remember she came out here last week, and on the 1 yard line, decided to go back home. So Dawn's out there at the mountain, and today bringing her Rama, her brother and her sister-in-law, so her brother's wife. All three of them are going through the process right now today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty
A
awesome.
massive miracle.
Wow.
Too. This is like a real intense Muslim community out in that her family's in. And like so that was one thing for them. They were like, oh, is this going to conflict with our religion? And we know it doesn't.
No.
But at the same time, when you experience full consciousness, it's real hard to look at things the same.
Yeah, for sure.
So there is a
Coming from
threat
former
to-
Muslim, yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, as an ex-Muslim, why don't you share how that played out for you?
Oh, well, let's just say it's not the most open, at least in the dogmatic sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say on that other than like the culture and the religion is very restrictive. And so for me to say that I am Allah, like, right, like
I am a
Allah, like
yeah,
they're gonna,
it's not gonna go over too well.
it's definitely not gonna go in the way that I would want it
I
to.
remember Don telling me when he was like huge into the Catholicism, he was like a altar boy for a while and all this, right? Back in his younger days. And he was talking to his sister, his older sister Phyllis, and Phyllis was not into any religion. She was more spiritual and whatever. But this one comment that she made to Don was pretty funny. Don was talking about church or whatever, and Phyllis says, yeah, it's gonna be pretty hard for you to get anywhere with that small god of yours. Don just said he went into a rage, like he was just so pissed off at that comment, majorly triggered. But yeah, it's not like we're knocking any religions, and we're not conflicting with any of them. We're talking about a 2 hour series of questions experience, where you tap in and experience who you truly are. But at the same time, it's like it doesn't feel necessary anymore after you've had that experience. So in a way, there's a threat to that system just because it doesn't really apply anymore after you've experienced like the full truth. It'd be kind of like, I was an alcoholic and a weed addict, and if I had an alcohol company, it would be a threat to the alcohol company, me taking Don's program, because I wouldn't need alcohol anymore.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's conflicting with the alcohol company, but at the same time, Stephanie's saying our mics aren't on. That would be really fucking hilarious.
You don't think the mics are on? Have you guys been able to hear us this whole time, or are we just talking to ourselves?
That's so funny. Are we muted? No. Oh, maybe she means they're going on the. Yeah, maybe our mics aren't actually. Yeah, makes sense.
We can hear you, but it's in the background.
I think it's going on the device instead of the.
Oh, wow. Well, that's interesting.
On the big ball drop.
Maybe
All
we're
right.
trying to keep me protected from all the Muslims
How's
gonna
that?
attack me.
How's that? Because that was a lot of good juice to start the call with.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm glad, because maybe my mom or my dad would have been
Okay, perfect.
like, "What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
You just say you're Allah."
What did he say? I'm Allah? That's oh shit. We're gonna get some bombs over Baghdad here. Okay, perfect. Someone heard us. Anyway.
Whoops.
Yeah, I try to tell myself to not say these things, but they just come out. I don't have a real filter to stop it.
Yeah.
What I meant is this doesn't conflict at all with any religions.
And it really doesn't actually.
No,
Whenever you look at the actual, like, the depth of what the message really is, it's right in alignment with it.
It is. Michael's saying the power's gonna go out again. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the interesting thing. Like my brother, for example, he's going to church right now and he's sending me these quotes from church that are in perfect alignment with the divinity. It's like everything that, like the languaging is on point. So there's that. Like if you are going to church or reading the Bible or whatever you're doing, you're definitely going to get a lot more out of it from this level of consciousness. It's actually going to resonate where it was meant to be, where it was originally sourced from. Like let's say Jesus was at 1,000, so everything that he taught was at that level, but then it can be interpreted in very different ways, and that's what happened over the years as our consciousness fell to under 100. I mean, then it was being interpreted from that level. And so it really is like, well, if you still choose to do all that, then this will just amplify your experience. You'll be able to see the truth for what it is. For me, I could go back and see which churches were actually in alignment and which ones weren't too. So you can just see the truth of everything. And not to say that there isn't truth in religion, there is. Was that a good cover up?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was great.
Soften the blow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, I think like as far as religion goes and all that, I mean, there's like for example, like Neville Goddard, he uses a lot of the Bible to explain his
does.
concepts.
Yeah, he referenced the Bible a lot.
So it's like you said, it's just like the level of consciousness that you're at is what you're gonna get out
You're
of it.
interpreting it. Yeah, Neville Goddard went through a bunch of Bible verses of how they were actually saying that we are God. But how are you going to interpret it from that level when you've been programmed to be this ego slave your entire life? You're not going to be able to accept that you're God. I mean, you can't even see or experience miracles or truth under the level of 200. So how are you going to accept that you're that God energy?
Yeah, I mean, and then he says like a lot of like the Bible and like for example the holy books, they're not to be interpreted literally. They're a lot more metaphorical and allegorical. So it's like
Yeah.
that's also another reason why people are missing the mark.
Yeah, stories and metaphors actually bypass the intellect. So that's why they use those. But you're right, many people take it as a literal, this happened, like a history book, instead of the lessons within it, the divine message.
And then how they apply within you and
Mhm.
within like the universe and whatnot.
Yeah, that's all connected for sure. Well, the best thing that I could say is that, like I said, the language and everything is in alignment. But both my brother and I were going to church before.
Chase
and I were, and Jesse was there for a few times too. But we were all staying together downtown Vancouver back in 2015 or so. So we were going to church a few times a week actually, because there was different events, like the Alpha group and the whatevers and the Sunday service. And it was awesome, except we were doing that in between dabs and like it's like
right.
and then my brother up until last year he was hooked on meth at his lowest point last year before he came out to Philippines and did the process. That's why I was so adamant to get him out there, because I knew he was days away from literally killing himself. Like, so, and he was doing the meth with his father, and his father goes to church as well.
His dad goes to church and he does
Yeah.
meth with his son.
Exactly.
Wow.
And nothing against the person. It's just how strong the ego can be if we don't have the tools that we have with the divinity process. Because now, after the process, when you're clear of all of that and you know how to navigate and you have the tools to navigate the ego, now the church can amplify. It can be I mean, it's better than going to the bar.
Yeah.
Like it's more in alignment, like people are actually intending to do good there.
Yeah.
So there is that, but that's the best way I could put it, is that we still had all of our toxic shit when we were doing all that, no matter how much you read the Bible. I mean, I remember I would be reading the Bible like after an all-night bender, like one time we were down in Mexico and we did cocaine the night before, and it was literally like reading the Bible to make sure I didn't die from the drug, like just crazy shit, right? It's just saying, like, I was intending to do all that good, but then the ego toxic patterns and programs were pulling me into all that toxicity no matter how much I went to church. I got baptized a few times, so that's my story. If it works for you, then that's amazing.
All right,
Bye,
Tiffany,
Have
enjoy.
a fun date night. So
So yeah, I think that's a good transition into like our topic today, which is divine focus, which is like
yes,
um
better stop talking about religion. We'll lose some people.
well, it's still like it still goes hand in hand, right? So it's like what did Jesus preach, and it's like or any of these saints or
I
prophets.
am the light, the truth, and the way. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's all talking about divinity for sure. It's just for me, there wasn't an actual process to go through to release the ego energy. So no matter how much like positivity I put on top of it, it didn't hold, because the underlying core was still there, and I didn't have a tool or process to deal with it.
Yeah.
But
And now it's like, okay, after the process, there's still room for the ego to come in if you're not doing your divine focus,
100%.
which I mean I've seen for myself. It's so interesting. Even just like just missing one of the three that day, it's like, okay, it's just like the barrier and like the shield, whatever you want to call it, the bubble, the energy bubble, whatever. The way that I imagine it and like how I visualize it when I do it, it's like the energy field around me just gets bigger and thicker and stronger, and it's like the ego has literally no way to get in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can just see it from a mile away compared to it's an inch away.
yeah, it's like right here. It's
Inching
like,
up on you, because it will just inch up on you, and eventually it's taken over your whole being. But the way I would see it is, like, imagine if any of you have tried the VR, virtual reality. So just imagine your divine focus is you outside of the VR. Okay, the truth, your real reality, and then inside the VR, you're living this illusion. Okay, so now imagine that you didn't take any break from the VR, and you were just in there for days and weeks and months and years. At some point, you wouldn't be able to distinguish that you were in VR anymore.
that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
You got a knack for imagery and metaphors.
Must be the new liquidarian. I'm pretty tuned in.
Well, you've been doing this for a while, so as well. Like every time he just like tells me some like different like imagery or some metaphor, I'm like, oh, that's a really good way to put it.
So that's how I'd see it. Is like when you're outside of your divine focus, you're in this 3D illusion, and the more you're in it without tuning back into your divine focus, the more you start to believe this fake reality.
But the funny thing is most of us have been living in that VR reality our whole life.
Correct.
And so we don't even realize that we're living in it. It's kind of like a fish in a fishbowl. Right?
And then
Like
when someone comes along and says, "Hey, dude, like you're in VR, like take the goggles off," and you're so attached to all like the character building that you did in the VR, you're like, "Fuck you, this is real life.
This is me."
Yeah.
It reminds me of when I was like a kid and I was like addicted to this RPG game, and I like build up all the stats and stuff. And then my mom would like tell me to get off the game, and I'd throw a bitch fit, like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was literally in that world. That was my whole life.
Yeah, me too. And for me, it was my actual world was so painful that video games were this escape of that reality, right? So that I was truly in that other reality because I was playing video games more than I was, living that real life.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because like the video game you can change that for whatever vice.
Yeah.
Whatever vice, whether it's like for me, like at one point, like I remember this very clearly. It's like I stopped smoking weed, I stopped doing all of the drugs, but then the gym became my vice. And I was in the gym for 3 to 4 hours a day. And there's not much difference between like doing like the gym for 3 to 4 hours a day and then like smoking joints for 3 to 4 hours, right? It's like because you're like you cannot live here now, and so you need something to escape, or building a business, right? It's like that's like the positive aspect of like, there's the negative beliefs and the positive beliefs. Well, it's not any different. It's like, do you really need to be in the gym for 3 to 4 hours? Do you really need to work your ass off every single day for 16 hours
Yeah.
so that way you get validation from outside of yourself?
To build your worth externally.
Yeah, and that's where like a lot of these like high net worth CEOs or like the billionaires that Don's worked with, they had all of these billions of dollars, but they still have their toxic programs. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And attachments, right, to that character building. Paul said children are a great example of not being in the VR. Yeah, 100%. You talk to children and it's like they are in VR. Like they're living this whole imagination world, but not in a video game in real life, So yeah, very great
Except some
example.
of these kids that are like stuck to their iPads. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, there is that. Um,
But yeah, divine focus. Divine focus is
Divine focus, that's your truth, that's your light, that's your way, That's yeah, because any external can become an addiction. For me it was traveling. I was telling you, as great as the week of 5 different resorts and 3 different islands and all of this external stimulation, the scuba diving and all of that, as great as that was, it was like it doesn't compare at all to the divine focusing I was doing in the middle of all that,
Yeah. But doing all that stuff with your divinity is obviously way more fun, way more enjoyable than if you weren't.
Oh yeah, 100%, because I'm not attached to that external high that you get.
Yeah, you're not like looking for it through that.
No, it's just an alignment for what you're in, instead of trying to chase that feeling or that love or the worth outside of you by doing all that stuff. Like I rarely post anymore at all, but I remember when I was just everywhere I went, I would post and do a story and all that, and it was like just building like look how cool my life is, like
Yeah.
getting my worth from that, from the attention and all that. So there's just one example. I'm not saying if you're doing that, that's what you're doing, but that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
I definitely see a shift in when I was posting back then and now. Now I'm doing it for a message. Like I don't need to post every single thing that I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so like, hey, like there's something that I'm trying to portray to my audience rather than, hey, look at me. My life is so cool, even though I'm miserable and I smoke weed
Yeah,
10 times a day.
I love those reels, the Instagram versus reality.
Yeah.
And like it shows like this awesome shot, and then like the reality behind is like a bunch of garbage and swamps. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, that's how it is. So divine focus is your real world. This is really just no different than VR. Just imagine we had like some very advanced VR that is coming in this 3D world. But imagine it already came before, and the advanced technology was that you could take your consciousness and implant it into this, game, and then you get to play it out and actually think that you're the character, with the name and the religion and the whatevers. So that's the best way that I could put it.
That's really good.
That's what happened.
Yes, I posted something on Instagram yesterday. It did a really good job of explaining something. I want to bring this up really quick. So it says the 4 levels of consciousness.
Oh, I saw that. I
You
like
saw
that.
that, yeah.
Mhm.
So the 4 stages of consciousness. So the first one is life is happening to me. I'm a victim of the world. Been there. Been there. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
No, it's this other thing that's making this happen. No, I didn't create that. Like that's because of this person or because of
My
that.
boss, my spouse, my friend, my whatever,
Yeah.
teacher.
Yeah,
Parent.
it's never your fault. It's never your responsibility. There's no accountability in your end.
Hmm.
The second stage is life is happening by me. I'm a creator and a manifester, which is definitely a better step up. And that's like the law of attraction stuff. Like, okay, like I can create things, I can manifest things.
Yeah, at least starting to take responsibility. You have a degree of control.
Yeah. And the next step is life is happening through me. I've surrendered to something greater, which is really,
That was the tough one for us.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, when we built up those characters to be so powerful that, and then not to mention all the fears that we had, so you had to like control everything because you were afraid of whatever would happen. So
Yep.
instead of just surrendering to the divinity instead of the humanness, like making things happen versus allowing things to happen. Big
Yeah.
difference.
The entrepreneurs, they have a hard time with that one, surrendering to something. And it's definitely a step up from there, which is, you're surrendering to something greater than you, a force greater than you. And then the last stage is life is happening as me, the highest self embodiment I am.
Yeah.
Which is
Full circle.
Yeah. That's just a whole other like, yeah. No words needed for that.
Well, it's just surrendering to the higher power was stage 3. Surrendering to my higher self is stage 4. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So, anyone on the call want to share anything? Any updates? Anything cool happened for you that you want to share with the group? Paul says I definitely like the last stage.
Yes.
Yeah, you just it's like realizing that everything that's happening is,
Yep.
yeah. Your tan looks really good on camera too, bro. You're almost blending in with the pink behind you.
Bro, I must have dropped a good 15 pounds. I gotta check.
Dude, your face looks thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look your jawline
It
is.
feels so freaking light. I'm at well, this is about 60 hours in to only liquids. Yeah. Sounds like a lot, but it's like 2.5 days.
Sounds better at 60 hours.
I'll shift to days when we hit 100 hours. Okay, you go, girl. Let's hear it. Gilbert's got a astral VR dream.
Yeah, it was kind of intense.
Oh, hold
One
on, buddy.
second.
Our
One
audio's
second.
not on.
Sorry. We're trying to make sure that we hear
We're
you.
gonna have to get you to start over.
Yeah, no problem.
There we go.
I had just gotten this new memory foam mattress topper or whatever, but apparently I was supposed to let it I guess air out because it was intense. Like I only let it air out 6 hours yesterday, but when I woke up in the morning, it was like intense. And so I guess the fumes of it that didn't get a chance to escape yet and air out, oh my God, I was inhaling that all night and it like threw me in this intense ass dream. And the crazy thing, how I knew it was had to be in one of the lowest vibing frequencies I'd been on because Joe Biden was in my fucking dream. It was intense, dude. It was intense. Like he was acting all creepy as shit as usual. Um, we're in a we're in a library and he comes around with this, I don't know if it was like a purse last satchel, but it was like black and had like a pink lining around it and stuff like that. And he was just acting creepy, opening it up, asking little kids if they wanted to have something from there, and then it sort of sounded like he was trying to sniff. But it was weird, man. But after he left, I guess they were doing like the voting and all kinds of stuff. So in the astral realm, somebody was trying to get me to sign some contracts in the astral realm. And the crazy thing is they're like, "Oh no, we're not gonna vote for him to be, president." Like I just remember it was like maybe kids from 7 years old to like 15 years old. And like I was starting to fill out this contract, and it was like a spiritual contract, and I was just like, man, what is up with this? Because it was asking for different little things like red blood prints and like all kinds of weird stuff. I didn't know how to fill it out. I was that ignorant still in the astral plane. And then like I kept butchering the contract like intentionally. Like I like something was guiding me still, like the divine was still guiding me and protecting me in the astral plane and making me act ignorant so I wouldn't sign the contract. So I butchered the first one, and then a little 15-year-old comes to me a little like kind of upset, like annoyed. Like it was like the ego wanting me to sign this contract. He's like, I'll fill this shit out for you. And like I'm like, geez, dude, like what's going on with you? Like, you all right? Did you do your divine focus? Like oh, he was still annoyed. He filled out practically everything. And then my clumsy ass like knocked over the ink and it like blotted out where my whole name was at. Like half the page got just destroyed. And he goes, "Oh, forget it." And he just walked away. And then I just remember trying to walk out of the library, and it just started to get really hazy and to the point where I couldn't see anything. And I just remember hitting the door. And I was like, what the fuck? Why can't I see? And then I woke up and I was just smelling the chemicals of this mattress, dude. This thing. I was just like, whoa. Nah, I gotta make sure to air out this tonight because I do not want to jump into a low vibing frequency like that again. But I thought I'd share it. So I haven't done the interpretation about like being in a library and all that stuff. It was, yeah, I didn't get a chance to yet, but I typically do it as soon as I wake up, do the interpretations. But I just it was a little too weird for me. I just didn't care for it. So I just didn't interpret it. But I'm pretty sure it has some deeper meanings in it. But yeah, dude, no, it was a peachy day today. And as much as you guys talked about health and everything, I gotta get off my chest, bro. I cheated today. I had a burger, I'm not gonna lie. But it was a homemade one, okay? It was a homemade one. It's been 7 months, okay? I've been doing real good. Real good. And it was
Not
the
judging
best part.
you.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if it backfires tomorrow. I'll let you guys know on an update if I had to do a cleansing run. But yeah, dude, great day so far. Um, that's all I got. Just wanted to share. Oh yeah, watch out for contracts in the astral plane. If they act
Just look out
fidgety,
for contracts in general.
yeah. No, real talk, especially in this world. But in the astral plane, they're kind of sketchy. If they start acting all fidgety, question them. And then in the daytime, when you realize it, be like, if I signed any contract, it's null and void. Like it still has the same contract from here, like 3 days. The astral plane still has 3 days too. So if you do it in the physical plane, you tell them whatever contract that was is null and void. You know, you can still renounce the contracts. Just giving you guys a heads up if you're ever faced with that kind of shit. Just giving you FYI. Enjoy your astral travels, guys.
Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, if Joe Biden comes to me, I'm definitely not signing no contracts.
Just be careful, you might sniff your hair, bro.
What's left of it.
What came up for me on the contract side is that like contracts have absolutely no power whatsoever, but they're all geared towards bringing us into fear, like contracting our energy into those lower energies, which is the fear, the guilt, the shame, you know, guilty that you didn't follow through or that you changed your mind or whatever the deal is, right? And but it just shows how intense they can get of like how like in your dream, Gilbert, just how the ego creates these massive fear, you know, prisons that it wants you to think is a prison, but only you can voluntarily, you know, get
Yeah, I know. I found out about contracts a while back that it was that language legalese was created in a way. Well, English was created in a way to disguise our true intentions. So yeah, and then because people weren't able to trust one another, they had to do it in writing because the word of mouth used to be powerful back then. But we lost all that down the way, and then they started creating adhesion contracts and shit like that, where it's only one-sided. And yeah, there's a whole lot more to that, but yeah, no, dude, I feel you about contracts. Not a fan. Not a fan about being bounded.
My real point is that just the whole idea of it is fear based. So even
Yep.
just how we ended off there with like heads up, be careful, it's all just the ego trying to make you afraid
True
and make a
that.
paper officially, so you're officially afraid if you don't do what I told you.
True
That's a
that.
good way to put it. I didn't even think about that. I didn't put two like contract, contracting your energy,
Yeah.
and you're the only
Yeah.
one that can step into that prison.
Yeah, true that. True that. You're right. I got to get back into my divine focus again.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
My
you,
real
bro.
point is like the contract itself is neutral, but the power the illusion of power that it creates, so that you go into guilt and shame about, using your power to do something different, to change your direction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how many contracts I had like set up or whatever. Or just it didn't really have any real power.
No, they really don't. It's solely an illusion. I've never really done contracts when it comes to like business or anything, because I know they don't have any weight. Like, especially when you go into international law, and the people can do it around their different international corporations, and it's like whatever, right? So at the end of the day, it's just, do I trust this person or not? And we need to realize 85% of the population is still under 200, which is a total lack of integrity. But yeah, it's just, and then even the fear of like, oh, you're not going to do what you said you're going to do, so you need to sign in blood here that you're going to do that, because if you don't do that, then I'm going to lose my power, like all that. So it's on both sides, the fear. But
It's interesting you say that because like I'm not gonna mention the company's name, but I had a contract with them where they were paying me like 5 figures a month to build their company, and there's three parties involved. Two of the parties kept me and the other person kept our end of the deal. The other person completely did not keep their end of the deal, and there's nothing that we could do about it. So
except for not do deals with them anymore.
exactly,
Like
exactly. Like that's the only thing.
That's for me, it's just like, yeah, if this person backs out or does something shady, then I just know not to do anything with them again, as their loss, because we could have had a lifetime partnership and created so much. But if you're gonna do that on the first one or whatever, then all good. Like that information that you're not trustworthy is way more powerful to me than the contract would have been, or to take you to court and battle it out for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How interesting.
I've only been to court once, and it wasn't for me. It was for my mother, and I've tried to tell her for years, like, there's no point in doing these battles, but I think she's coming around. But yeah, I've never, not once, and I've had my fair share of deals going south and people not holding up their end of the bar, all that stuff. But I've never sued anyone, never taken anyone to court, nothing like that. I was like, okay, I know not to do anything with him anymore. Easy. Yeah. But yeah, the ego and its illusions, eh?
Yeah, it's just once and even think about it, like whenever you're setting, I mean, like I can just think about like for myself, it's like, oh, like this contract's in place to make sure that they're afraid, to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do,
Yeah.
or else they could possibly go to court.
Yeah.
It's like it's completely fear-based.
Yeah.
Completely fear-based.
On both sides.
On both sides.
Yeah, on both sides.
It's straight up the force. Remember power versus force? That's straight up the force dimension. Straight
Yeah,
up.
exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The whole legal system would be enforced. Yeah. Isn't it called law enforcement?
That's true. Law enforcement.
Yep.
What a coincidence.
No, it ain't.
Exactly. Even the word coincidence. Coincidence, an incidence. So like a mirror instance. Happening. Paul has something. I like what happened to Don and I would like to share the incident. You go right ahead, Paul. Take it away.
Hi, folks. Thanks, Gilbert, for sharing that. That was amazing. It opened up a lot of other ideas and experiences that we all have similar to that. And I just want to share yesterday's conversation, how it affected Don and I today, or sorry, it's yesterday already. So, because we're in the morning the next day. So anyhow, we were walking in the city, small city of Samos. There we are, Samos City, and it was a lot of festivity going on, and we hadn't been for a day. We decided the day before we just stay home and just chill, and had a lot of things to do around here. And anyway, so as we're walking down there, the music's playing, and little narrow streets and the shops and everything, and it's just zooming down the street. And we come up to a group of people, and what we discussed yesterday, which was quite we found it really interesting. It was all about veganism, vegetarianism, going into an area of how food may even define what state we're in and all of that. And so here we are and walking down, and we get approached. We get to this section where they've got the barbecues going, and it's in this little intersect of all the stores and all the shops. And we're offered a souvlaki stick each with a piece of bread stuck on the top of it. So everybody that's going by there is given this this free sort of meat, and it was probably the meat that I haven't eaten for, I don't know, for decades, which is pork. And so because you love their pork here, I have to tell you that. So anyway, we get these, and of course I'm being cordial. I'm not refusing it because everybody's taking the meat, and we're the party's on. And so I grabbed mine, and Donna got one as well, and we're walking down there. We're trying to figure out, gee, I mean, we want to participate. It seems like a lot of fun. We still don't know what's going on, and and so we find out that it's a celebration that the Greeks have taken on 40 years ago when, sorry, Donna, 70 years? Oh, 70 years ago when they actually had no meat on the island. And so this was now a celebration to commemorate that anniversary of no meat. So of course, every store we went after that, every small restaurant had their own barbecue outside, and they're having pork. Everybody's giving these pork souvlaki sticks. So anyway, we took a look at it. We said, oh, for God's sakes, didn't we just talk about food? And one of the things we're discussing was meat. And here we are challenged with meat. Oh, okay. So we walk into a pharmacy. Thought I wanted to pick up a couple items are there. I love the definition of pharmacy though. Poison. It means poison. So anyway, so here we are. We walk into the poison store, and but we didn't buy poison. Actually, the guy we met was really up with herbs and really knew his stuff. And we thought, oh my God, somebody's awake on the island. We love it. So we had a great conversation. And meanwhile, we're holding these souvlaki sticks with the meat on them. We didn't touch them, right? So one of the gals that was looking after the entrance of this little store, because there were a lot of people going around. She said, "Oh, his daughter, or one of the daughters of one of the workers there. Oh, they'll take the pork from you." I said, "Oh, great. Okay, I'm going to give it to somebody that's going to enjoy it." So we gave our pork souvlaki sticks away. We were clear. We felt like, okay, we did the right thing. We passed on the buck, kind of thing. Anyway, but it was great because the synchronicity, of course, and then of course we're always challenged with our decisions, and usually very quickly. And so that was just another sign of, okay, well, now you're going to have to take a look at this. Let's take a good look at this. Anyhow, so I just wanted to share that incident. I thought it was kind of cool.
It's interesting because like a lot of the times when we talk about something, it seems like you and Donna like literally have that experience like the same day or something similar.
Oh yeah,
related.
yeah. If you had any time with Donna, you'll know very quickly what's going on. I mean, there's no choice in this matter. You go with it, or you flow, or you don't flow. And she's so connected. I have to tell you, she doesn't want to be on tip right now, but she's very, I mean, super connected. Has been all our time together that I've known her, and challenges me in every which way. So yeah, keeps me honest, and and sincere, and forthright, and all those great characteristics that it just oozes from her. Anyway.
That's awesome, guys. Way to
Super
go, Paul
awesome.
and Donna.
By the way, Paul, I wanted to tell you I love your mustache.
Oh, well, it's taken a few years, you know, these things just don't happen overnight.
Yeah, well, it seems so.
Yeah, but I'm getting a little worried because I'm wondering once it passes the width of my jaw here, I'm not sure exactly what it's going to appear to look like. I might start flying or something. I mean, maybe that's where I'm heading for. I'm heading for
Yeah.
a flight. Oh God.
So funny.
Oh geez. Well, thanks anyway. Thanks for the compliment.
You're very welcome.
That's awesome, Paul. Yeah, it really hammers in that how tested we are when we make those decisions to really confirm, if you're going to follow through with it or not, because yeah, those challenges will come in, especially after big decisions. Like, okay, did you really mean it? Prove it.
Exactly. And yeah, I think it's great. I think turning around what maybe in how we would react to something like that. It's like some days back I would have called that a trigger. Like, oh well, take that pork away from me, get out of here. Like it would have been sort of one of these triggers. And but now I'm just it's like, yeah, okay, so now well, okay, what's the message here? We just got this pork given to us. Okay, we got it. Okay, thank you. Really
That's
good.
it.
So we look at it so much more in a development, almost in uh, a synchronistic way, but also in a way that flows within your life rather than putting up an immediate wall and denying. So it's a much better way, and we're just loving this whole process, guys. It's great.
That is awesome. For me too, I was thinking about this yesterday that just the whole pork and beef instead of calling it what it really is, pig and cow.
Yeah,
Becomes like another way to
exactly.
desensitize ourselves from what it actually is.
A cooked
Yeah,
cow.
right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I used to tease that in the in my health related days. I would always bring out what actually they were eating. Exactly. I would call it with, and actually I had a little joke that was kind of a little piercing for some people, where I would say, well, we knew somebody who was raising sheep, and they were going to slaughter the sheep, and that was going to be on their table for dinner. And this is when we were in our vegan and our vegetarian state quite a bit. And so I said to them, so what name did you give him?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you know what he answered back? You got to like this one. He says, "Oh yeah, I bring my kids there all the time because they had a farm. They had their home in the city and they had a farm outside in Ontario. And so yeah, I bring my kids there to visit all the time. But I warn them, we don't give the sheep any names." That's just,
Wonder why. Yeah.
okay, I wonder why. Right, exactly. But we didn't get into that conversation. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
lost I lost a lot of friends when I went vegan for sure.
yeah, you got to be, yeah, you can do that real quick.
Yeah. And then last year when I decided to try meat again after what was it, 11, 12 years, I made a post about it. And this is pretty funny. So I had a picture of myself when I was fully vegan and like I didn't have any fat on me. I looked pretty good. And I posted that as the picture saying, hey guys, like I decided to eat meat again and I'm feeling really great and all this stuff, right? And the post
Mhm.
like just got so much praise, right? Everyone's like, oh, that's awesome. And like, look how good you look. And I'm thinking, you fucking idiots. This is what I was. And then if I posted a picture like after the 6 months of eating meat, I got up to 220 pounds. I was like a good 30, 40 pounds overweight, just looking like shit, like just didn't feel good in the body even with the divinity, it's
Mhm.
out of alignment for
Wow.
me. But I
Yeah.
remember when I'd post the vegan, either nobody would comment, I'd have people defriend me, or they would like viciously attack me on the post. I had a few
Mhm.
of those. Eventually, like I'm not gonna play that game anymore. I'm gonna share what I'm doing, and that's it. But after the call yesterday, when we talked about it, we had a good friend of mine, Nicholas, on. He was the one that said, "Hey, I've been water fasting 3 days a week, and on the fasting days feel a lot better than the consumption days, and I'll do the liquidarian with you." So I hit him up afterwards, and he said, "Yeah, I got connected to this breatharian. He's been a breatharian for 10 years, and he has this group chat. There's about 70 people in it that he's guiding to help become like follow, become breatharian." And I said, "Man, like get me into that, get me connected to that guy." So I reached out to the guy, his name's Chris, and asked him to put me in that group, and we'll see how that goes. But now just from that one conversation yesterday, it's like I got this like breatharian mentor now. He's been doing it for 10 years, and he looks amazing. Like on his Instagram, I was checking it out, and he's 52 now, and he was 42 when he decided to give up the food and liquids. And at 42, you could just see it, and 52, he just looks amazing. It's just like wow. But just that possibility of like wow, he hasn't. I mean, he's had the odd social, liquid or like juice or whatever, but for 10 years, he's mostly not had anything, which is wow.
Wow.
Just the fact that that's possible is pretty amazing.
Which it's actually interesting, and so in one of the so in how like in Christianity or in Islam they have like the end times.
Yeah.
So one of the signs in Islam of the end times is that people will be living off of prayer, aka prana.
Yep.
So
that's interesting. Yeah, and there's lots of fasting references in the Bible. So they do. But I remember we were watching that documentary. What was that? Zeitgeist?
Yeah, Zeitgeist.
And they went over all the different religions, and many that I like wasn't even aware of just in history. And it was interesting how many overlaps of the stories. Remember we were talking about how the story has been taken literal, but the story of the virgin birth and the three stars and the resurrection and all that, and there was so much overlap in so many different religions throughout the ages. And one of the things that I caught about the end times was that it was actually the end of an age, like the end of the constellation, the cycle, the energetic cycle of the world. So that was interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of truth out there if you seek it.
Yeah.
Seek and you shall find. But ultimately, it comes back to us, like what conscious level are we holding? Because even if you're faced with truth, remember, if you're under 200, you can't even recognize it as truth. Like, you cannot recognize truth versus falsehood when you're at those lower states of consciousness.
Yeah.
You can't experience miracles. Like they don't even exist to you. And that's why someone like my brother coming just a few weeks ago saying how we were delusional with all the stuff what we were saying, like, oh, your spiritual beliefs, they're so delusional. And I said, well, yeah, what about that intense phobia that you had to get on the plane because you thought you were going to die? You had to research what the odds of a plane crashing were because you were so terrified of dying on the plane to come to Philippines. Isn't that delusional? Or what about like your father doing meth with our other brother, Chase? Is that delusional? While going to church? It's like, choose your delusional, bud. But you can't even accept truth when you're at that level.
Yeah.
I found out he didn't block me on Instagram, so I sent him that stick figure thing that we had.
The Gilbert?
Yeah, that one that Gilbert shared. Can we pull that up? Will be banned? Why? Well, then definitely play it.
Just don't put music on. Just turn off the sound.
Oh, is there music on? Yeah. You know which one I'm talking about? The light guy in the black. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Pull it up so they can see. So I forwarded it to my brother on Instagram, Jesse, in hopes a little light will get through.
Your memes usually are pretty powerful.
My meme game is pretty good.
Yeah, you have a pretty good meme game.
Yeah. I only like go on social media maybe once, twice a day, just like check things, and then almost every day something like just this random, it's not random, but this magical meme that's just like perfect shows up on my feed. I've gotten to the point where I've unfollowed every, like anytime there's any type of um lower consciousness feed. So my feed is very minimal. But there's this one group that I'm in, Enlightened Consciousness, and they share a lot of awesome memes that I use.
The one that you talked about when you're an empath, but you no longer are attached to.
I take responsibility for everyone.
Yeah.
That was awesome. It's like a happy plane guy just flying away from this blowing up city.
Oh man.
Yeah, do it without the audio. That'd be a smart way.
In the meantime,
What does Gilbert say? The ego loves to praise similar unhealthy habits. Yeah, and justify, right? Either turns a negative into a positive, or like justifies, the choice.
yep. None of my friends that I smoked weed with said anything whenever we were smoking weed, but as soon as I talk about divinity, I have my ego so big.
Yeah, well, at the end, they're all addictions, right? So I was going through this breatharian guy's stuff last night, and that's what he was showing me, was that like the food, one of the biggest addictions, like the fact that we not only can go without it, but thrive without it.
Yeah.
And no wonder people, when you talk about food, get triggered.
Yeah.
Can you guys see this? Start it over, I think, bud. It was blurry there. All right. How does the environment affect you? Like I'm done.
Quick question, like how does everybody like become expert mockers? Like all of a sudden, do they go to like mock school?
Expert what, Gilbert?
Mockers.
Oh, mockers.
Mockers? They're good. The ego is really good at that. Like think expert, like
Yeah.
PhD expert, like level.
Well, like Don says, the ego just notices what's wrong and thinks the worst.
Yeah, and it uses all of your gifts and powers against you, right? So that infinite creativity you have, it just uses against you to turn it into the negative. That's where the mocking comes from.
So it gets channeled into the people we love, and then they just know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, the ego's literally using their intelligence against them and then against you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyone else want to share anything? You got some good shares. The ego creates an autoimmune response. That is true. I mean, all the diseases, all of it, it's just it's from the ego.
Yeah, it's a blockage of your energy. It's dis-ease.
It's just like how Tiffany said the other day, like she's like, oh, I have my sore throat, and then I shared what happened with me to get to her divine focus and how she's creating that, and then the very next day it's gone.
Yeah.
Or like any of the stories that Don has shared. It doesn't matter what disease it is.
I know many with us aren't really ready for this conversation that I'm about to have, but it's just where I'm at. So that's all I can share, authentically. But I'm really starting to see all the food, like especially all the cooked stuff, as like an alcohol addiction. Like that's the level I'm getting at, where it's like, okay, yes, I can be in my divinity and eat and be fine. But I know my experience of like, can I be in my divinity and drink alcohol?
Can you?
I mean, I tried.
I don't think so.
Exactly, right? So it's just like a more intense form of that. It's just like what am I why am I poisoning my, whatever it is? Why am I poisoning my body even if I could outweigh it with the divinity, is it still having, and obviously it's having an effect. If the alcohol has an effect, then whatever food I decide to digest is going to have an effect, so now I got to hold myself accountable and go breatharian. You should see this guy Chris. Oh my goodness, it's like it was wow.
Really?
Yeah,
I'll check him out.
yeah, I'll share.
Childhood food nostalgia.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's one of the things Chris was talking about, like when we were babies and we were getting force fed this like baby food, Gerber, Johnson and Johnson fucking poison, and we're like screaming and crying like, please don't force feed me this shit. And then they think you're just more hungry, and so then they feed you more bullshit. And then instead of like the one liquid we're supposed to have, the mother's milk, how many mothers do not do breastfeeding anymore, and you're on some like, oh, new improved Johnson and Johnson frickin' baby powder with 18,000 different chemical poison preservatives in it. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's good. Oh, and then you're gonna shoot me up with how many vaccines? Like by the age of 4, I had, I don't know, 13, 15 vaccines.
Did you really?
Yeah, like that. Talk about a fucking tough start. Yeah. It's like, damn. But grateful for that. I know I chose that journey so that it could be so painful, so that I could go so extreme in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that kids that get breastfed are like significantly much more intelligent.
Of course, it's the only liquid you're supposed to get. Like seriously. We even drink the milk of other species. That's good for you. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I've never really liked cow's milk.
Yeah, instead of mother's milk, let's give you cow's milk. The cows that have 8 different stomachs to digest this fucking shit. And they're supposed to grow from what, like a whatever it is, 50 pounds to 500 pounds in the span of a few months. Yeah, I'm sure that won't have any reverse effect hormonal problems for the baby.
I mean, that explains why kids are so big now.
Dude, seriously. Seriously. I was a hefty kid. I was a hefty kid.
Hefty.
I remember it got so bad, bro, that I was in grade 8, no, 7. Grade 7, so I must have been what, 12 years old. I went to the health food store to get diet pills because I was so like
Damn.
concerned about how
Really?
overweight I was. Yeah, I was living with my uncle at the time. He was feeding us nothing but Burger King, McDonald's, pizza, like,
Sheesh.
all the neighborhood kids thought it was the coolest thing ever. Meanwhile, I'm getting poisoned every fucking day. I mean, I thought it was cool too at the time, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, my uncle's so cool, feeding me fucking pizza every day. We'd have like the one token home cooked meal that it would be frozen pork chops and frozen peas and pierogies. That was like our healthy meal of the week, What does Gilbert say? How would our potential be if our planet wouldn't be trying to kill us as soon as we were born? Yeah, exactly. It's a great question. Would we be at 10,000 conscious level at age 10? Yeah, it's our natural state. I mean, at least at 1,000. At least at 1,000 if we weren't programmed with all this shit. Hey, Tiffany's still on. Our meal was hamburger helper and peas. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Meat and potatoes. That's crazy. So remember you were saying to me, because I'm doing this herbal, like parasite detox cleanse or whatever, and you're like, oh, how do you feel from the parasite cleanse? And or what did you say after taking those or something? And the first hit I got was, I'm feeling amazing, not because of what I'm taking, it's because of what I'm not taking. Like what I'm not eating anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't what I added into my diet. It was what I took away,
Mm.
you know?
Kind of like like you feel amazing whenever you get rid of the ego because you can just be in your natural divinity.
Exactly. For me, it's perfect alignment, those two things. Yeah. Like ego, eating, all poisons from all different levels, because the ego is trying to kill you in multiple different ways.
Have you ever heard of the book Man's something Following Consciousness or something? They were saying that the reason why man used to live for 1,000 years was because of the foods that they're eating, and like as we developed over the centuries and stuff, because we started eating meat and stuff, our life expectancy went down.
I yeah, 100% believe it. Yeah. Well, I know it to be true because we
Mm.
were, I mean, what's the Garden of Eden, right? It was like we're living off the natural plants at the very most. And it's only in the last 100 years or so where food became a product
Mm.
and a drug.
Yeah.
And so did the medical system, right? The first thing that hit me when Paul was sharing about the 70-year anniversary of the pork in Greece, he said, yeah, back when they didn't have meat on the island. First thing that hit me is, yeah, back when they didn't have cancer on the island too, you know? Like it just goes hand in hand.
So
Hey,
LK says, who would do the manual labor when everyone is at 1,000 plus? I don't know if you
Technology.
Well, they've proven there's like this guy that rebuilt a pyramid in Florida where he actually used magnetism to rebuild it.
Well, the technology we used to have,
It's like way more
oh,
advanced.
way more advanced. Way more. I mean, if you look at any building architecture that's over 100 years compared to what we're building now, the materials we're using and the cookie cutter way that we're putting buildings together. I mean, they had like everything was just such a beautiful monument. Every building, you know, it's like, and I'm sure
I
the
think
slave labor was higher, but
I think we'll eventually get to the point where we can just manipulate matter with our minds. Talking about that cancer you were
doing
talking
that yet,
about,
Gilbert?
huh?
You're not doing that yet?
Nah,
That's part of the
only
program,
the
man. What the heck?
only in the astral plane, bro. So far, I'm getting
What's
there.
the
I'm getting there.
difference?
You
What's the
get
difference?
a few more weeks. Have you read the book the Grand China Experiment? There was a general from the Chinese army that got cancer, and he did like a huge experiment, went through all the provinces, and like thousands of people checking up on all the areas, all the regions, and they came to the conclusion that it was from all the meat, from all the fish, from everything. So it's
Yeah, the
kind of
China
crazy that you guys mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, the China study, they in that document they discovered that meat was turning on and off cancer when they would give it to people. Animal protein to be specific. So yeah.
Wow.
I mean, just for me, like just the thought of if I had to kill this myself, especially at this level of consciousness, it would be so out of integrity for me. Like if you told me I had to go and do it myself instead of pay someone to, you know, kill the cow and put the steak on.
Yeah.
And I had to go slit the cow's throat in the morning and, you know, go through the fucking guts and organs and take out the butt cheek, you know, and then grill it up and then fucking eat it. I mean, if I couldn't consciously go through that process. So then why
Yeah.
would I be able to pay someone to do it?
I definitely before the process, I would be all for it. Now it's like, there's no way.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, when I was a kid, I was like 7 years of age. Um, there's like I guess like a kind of tradition where they actually slaughter lambs for like if you're a boy, 2, and if you're a girl, 1. And they made me hold the fucking. So first off, I became
A real man after that?
no. I literally became best friends with when I was a kid.
Oh
I
man.
I became best
What
friends
was
with
his
this
name?
one. I forgot,
Oh.
but yeah, we were like best friends, and then like what I didn't know what they were doing, and then like the next day they're like, yeah, he got fat enough.
Bro, what kid is not in love with animals?
Yeah, like they
Like,
automatically just so.
yeah.
But the crazy thing is they had me hold him when they were slaughtering him,
Oh,
and like I would
was that
literally.
part of your baptisms for spiritual development?
Sam Greer. Yeah, several more chest hairs after that.
Yeah. And probably some acne and some fallen out hairs too. From the stress.
As a late teen, one of my jobs was working in a major rendering company in Toronto. Oh man,
What's rendering?
I think it's when they process the meat and stuff.
Really? Yeah.
The rendering is when they collect all the meats that were in this particular situation in Toronto, for example, all the stores and restaurants, and they would the butchers would of course have the waste of whatever they had to butcher to provide, and the restaurants would have that as well.
Or
So
whoever
they
they
send
have.
these huge, yeah, they send these huge trucks out, and they would then bring them to a rendering plant, and then my job was to back up these huge trucks, put them on this chain lift, and basically dump it into this huge vat that was probably not probably it was about 40 feet by about maybe let me see 40, yeah, that's right, about 40 feet by about 60 feet deep, and they had these turbine these winding conveyor system that would pull the meat into a chute, and that's everything. When I say pull the meat, I'm talking guts, and I won't even go into all the details. But bull heads. I mean, everything that wasn't processed or used would go. And then anyway, uh, I'll just share what experience I had many there, but I'll share one. The Every once in a while, it would jam up at the area where it would dump into another conveyor system where they went and crush it, and then they boil all this. And anyway, you don't see that, but it goes into these big boilers. And anyway, the one of the bullheads jammed it up. So I had to go and run and get a 20-foot ladder, get down into the pit, and with my boots and my gloves and everything, and literally pry out the head. Sorry, I hate to say it this way, but it is. And then I'd have to, pull it up and put it into a wheelbarrow and dump it in singlies because it wouldn't get through. So that was. Now I didn't just do that automatically. The first day of work, I remember having my lunch, and the workers there, they were just eating their lunch right over the pit. You'd see everything, right? You're just eating their lunch. And I couldn't when I first got there. I had to like go across the street and have my lunch, even though I might have been having a mortadella sandwich or something. Um, anyway, that was my one of my experiences there. There were many, but I'll tell you, I'm surprised I ever meet again, but I did. But I wasn't for a little bit later, but I did. Anyway,
Tiffany
yeah.
said, "What did they make? Dog food or hot dogs?"
No, they made dog food, pet food, and they used the oils for cosmetics.
Oh.
So that goes on people's faces, like women and yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Good thing about that next time you put makeup on, Tiffany. Just kidding. I say just kidding, but I always joke with Sam. I'm like, just because I said just kidding, my jokes are truthful. It's still true. It's not like I'm taking back the truth. I'm just kidding because it's a joke, but it's funny because it's true.
It just lowers the blow a little bit.
Yeah, it softens it. Yeah. I'm trying to keep a couple friends around. Man, thanks for sharing that, Paul. Yeah, I would have been vegan pretty shortly after that one, that's for sure.
Well, the reason why I went vegan was because of all those movies the first time I watched them.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of those where you actually see what's happening for sure. Yeah. At first, it was just a selfish thing for me because I was in so much pain of my health being like I was so unhealthy at age 19, like just bloated, ballooned up, like had rosacea on my face and my arms, like skin disease. doctor said it would never go away, you know, like had to use these special creams, all that, nothing ever did it. Had to take my tonsils out because I get strep throat every 3-4 months, you know, like I had a lot of intense pain. So by the time I was 19, I was on this search of like, how do I get healthy? And that did definitely raise my consciousness to the point where I was like thinking, okay, yeah, this is, I can't do this to the animals too. But at first, it was just a selfish thing for me to get healthy. Like, okay, if that's what I need to do to be healthy, you know. But now, after the divinity process, now is really no wonder I was having battle with the ego last year when I was also eating meat for a good 6 months. It's like just for me, for my own self, I had to be so out of integrity to do that. You know, like knowing what I knew, and like I had to drop my consciousness, and that's why I started drinking alcohol too, because now I was like I had to escape from the reality of me being out of integrity too, and that didn't do it either. So I was like, all right, Don, I need some help, bud. What did Tiffany say? My 9-year went vegan, 3 years watching that stuff. Yeah. Oh, 9-year-old or 9-year.
Yeah.
9-year
Yes,
young. 9-year young. Yes. Oh, I love that. Way to go, Tiffany. So, yeah, is that your daughter or your son? Oh, awesome. Yeah, imagine that at 9 years. Dawn has a great granddaughter. I'm trying to recall her age. I think she's 11, but she's never eaten a piece of meat.
Really?
She refused it from the day that her parents tried to feed it to her.
Wow.
And up until now has not. I'll get her age from Dawn, but yeah, just that intuitiveness, right? To know that at such a young age, like to put those connections together. When I was eating burgers and pizzas and all that at that age, I was not thinking like, oh, what guy had to die for this one, you know? Like so far out of my reality. But like I said, I got like 13 vaccines by the age of 4, so they got me pretty good. I was anything but sensitive and awake at that time. I was in quite the coma.
Well, we've come a long way.
Yes, seems to be. Long way to go too, I'm sure. You're gonna have to go breatharian to tap into that 50,000 level.
Yeah. Same with my 2-year grandson. He had 2-year young grandson. He hadn't had any dairy, no matter how often we offer it, and in all the different ways: yogurt, ice cream, whipped cream, milk, cream, nothing.
Whoa, that's awesome.
I'm surprised that you're a grandma.
Yeah, wait, what? You have a grandson, Tiffany? That's amazing. I thought she was in her 20s when she first came on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. 45. Well, you look great, Tiffany. You're doing something right for sure. But yeah, amazing how the 2-year young can intuitively know that.
Yeah.
Like, though that's a lot to turn down as a 2-year young. Yogurt, ice cream, milk. Wow. Well, I do know that the ones coming in recently are way beyond our consciousness level when we came in.
Dude, I've seen
That's
some
for
really
sure.
interesting videos of like just like these
Oh,
kids like just
superpowers.
super enlightened and just
Yeah.
just
so
speaking so much wisdom and truth.
intuitive. Yeah. Yeah. Some crazy videos of like parents asking them, and this one I gotta find that. Oh, you sent it to me. Do you still have that? The kid was like what, 9 maybe, and the mom was asking him questions about God, and he was explaining how
I think I
we're
posted
all
that
God.
one.
Did you post it?
Yeah, I posted that one.
Pull it up if you can, Will. That's a really awesome one. Yeah, the star seeds. Exactly.
Yeah, I've always said that the kids are here to teach the parents something rather than the other way around.
It is energetically like conscious. We're talking about consciousness here. Consciousness, they're definitely coming in at a higher level than most adults are at, and definitely where they were for sure.
Yeah, if we can find that video, we'll play
It's
it.
the only thing that continues to evolve the planet. Like if the kids came in at the same level as the parents, we'd be fucked.
Yeah.
There would be no planet. I mean, the whole thing would have been, it would be World War 13 by now, and we would have been destroyed after the nuclear World War 3, you know? Seriously.
Oh yeah,
This is awesome. Yeah, what is God?
God. What is God? Is God...
So God is an energy that is used to create something. So you know souls, right? Souls have the God energy in them.
Okay.
So let's say you took away the God energy from anything. It would just become nothing. Field. It's a field.
That's fascinating.
You can't ask it stuff. You can pray to it.
You can?
Yeah, you can. You can.
So
if someone doesn't believe in God, then I guess you don't believe in yourself, because basically every single living thing, and not even living thing, every single atom, every single piece of energy is made from the God source.
Wow, this is fascinating. So what is the God source?
Even
what is
space and time itself is created from that.
That's amazing. What does the God source look like? Does it look like a person? What does it look like?
It just looks like what's in front of it. It just looks like what they're looking at. Like you can't really see it. It just it looks like what it is.
Because a lot of people say that it looks like a bright light.
Normally it looks like a bright light, but if a human were to look at it, it would just be invisible, because it's what you're looking at. You can't just have it plain with in dark space. It doesn't work like that.
So when you pass away, what can it look like in light
I'd say a
space?
bright orb.
A bright orb. They're very curious. What is God?
So awesome. I mean, what's the age of that kid? 8 or 9 or something? Yeah. Yeah, and you can tell he's channeling that in the moment. It's not like he learned it at school and memorized it.
Yeah, what school's gonna teach you that?
It's amazing to have those types of parents that are so supportive and know that they're wise beyond their years and don't just look at them as children. You know, that they don't know anything. I know that's how I was brought up.
Oh, she's a psychic. That's what Tiffany says. She's
Who the parent is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's tuned in for sure.
Gilbert.
Yeah, exactly. Gilbert said I was just picking my nose around that age and wiping it on the wall. I definitely did that too. That was fascinating. That's funny.
Well, I need to start having some kids soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, two parents at a super high consciousness level, like bringing that kind of kid into the world.
Mm-hmm.
You and Nina need to get on it.
Yep, we've been working on it.
What time is it? Let's see.
11:45.
11:45. Awesome.
Well, we close up pretty quick. Play the fun video. Anyone want to share anything before we close out here? Gilbert says your kid's gonna come out levitating.
Levitating out the womb.
Yeah. Oh, just imagine that start. Like, well, my daughter Dawn worked with in the womb, and we did a group event the night before she was born, and yeah, and then she's living with her mom right now in Mexico, which is, let's just say, the opposite of I was telling Sam, like, as soon as she learns a little Spanish, I'm going to be justing out or pulling out the conscience chart, explaining it in Spanish. All right, this is where mom's at. This is where Grandpa Don is at. And, yeah, and anyway, I know she chose that scenario so that she could have that extreme, you know, example of growing up in that, and then, you know, being with with Daddy and Grandpa Don. So I mean, it's so clear when it's that extreme, instead of the lukewarm, you know, playing in the gray area. It's like, here's the bottom, here's the top. You know, like, there's no room left for like, yeah,
Yeah. It's
interpretation. No
Yeah.
room left for interpretation. Can't be lost in translation. Yeah.
No matter what language.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
All right.
anyone want to share? We're gonna close out with the video.
All right, awesome guys. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Philippines time, 10 a.m. Philippines time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully we'll have some good news for you. I know it's still,
Well, we always have great news.
no, I mean like good news as
I
far
know
as the
what you
partner
mean.
program
Yeah, I know what you
specifically,
mean.
because I'm itching for it just as much as you guys are. So
Yeah. And it's been it's supposed to be 30 days away in November for me, so I'm I'm just surrendering to myself. My higher self.
Thanks guys.
Yeah, hey,
Infinite love.
really appreciate all of you committed faces. You know, I see you guys coming almost every day, which is absolutely amazing. Tui, Tiffany, Don and Paula, Michael, LK, Gilbert, Barbara. Yeah, awesome. So awesome, especially with the hard-hitting, intense truth light bombs that we throw on this show. It says a lot, speaks volumes about who you are and the courage that you have. And so just honored to be here with all of you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys. Infinite love.
Hi there, my name's Jamie Devine. Welcome to I Am Divinity. I'm super excited for you to embark on this journey. Just congratulations for even finding I Am Divinity. My journey has been over 16 years of personal development, spiritual programs, multiple religions. I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 13. I never had a regular job. And so going through all of that, showing up to Don Smith 4 years ago to take his instant and permanent transformation, first of all, sounded a little hard to believe because I had done so much work and I still had all my shit. I was still an alcoholic, a weed addict, a narcissist. My financial gains in business and investing would shoot up and then cut right down and start over, shoot up, cut right down, and I could never hold my success. Going through his program, it was about 2 hours. All of my toxic patterns and programs were completely gone. Literally just gone in a second. And I can't even describe how liberating that moment was for me. But right after that, I told Don, I said, I don't want to do any of the business that I'm currently doing. I woke up to my purpose for coming to the planet. When Don told me his vision of raising humanity's consciousness to the level of 700 on the scale, enlightenment, which was the cause of all causes. The level of consciousness is the cause of all of our individual and collective problems on the planet. And so to finally have that solution, experiencing that solution for myself, I just wanted to tell everyone and anyone that would listen. And of course, with all my entrepreneur background and my skills in marketing, I made an agreement with Don so that I could just, literally my job would be to hold my light and share my light with others and bring them to the process and actually get compensated for it. And so I'm super excited to announce that we've now created this entire system for you too. Now imagine that, being able to go through this instant and permanent transformation for yourself, be liberated of all your toxic patterns and programs, literally within a couple hours. And then on top of that, being able to have all your financial fuel and energy and livelihood come from this divine system. And so there's a few pieces to it. Number one, we have an affiliate partnership program. So you're a partner. Your job is to hold your light, share your light, and anyone that's attracted to it, bring them to the program, and we pay out 30% of all the financial part of the system to you. That's the first part. The second part is my experience in the financial realm took me into Forex and crypto over the last 10 years. And I've been through all the roller coaster rides, all the ups and downs, all the scams and schemes. And we landed on just a couple people that were actually full of integrity, that have actually gone through the divinity process, and that are like nothing else. So our Forex fund is ran by an institutional trader. And if you've ever done anything in the financial realm in Forex, 99% of the retail space, the average everyday person, it's a scam. It's a scheme. You're going to lose your money. Maybe you were one of the few that got in early and took the money from the others, but eventually it collapses. I've seen them come and go over the years. But this institutional trader, he has 7 years of experience, and we have his entire track record of his strategy. He has an algorithm. He spent over $20 million in development up to this point. And so even with all that being said, there's still no guarantees. Of course, when it comes to investing, please only risk what you can afford. But we found something that's more solid than I've ever experienced, and it's where our personal funds are. And so you'll have access to that as well. His team has produced over the last 7 years on average 50 to 60% per year on the funds. And you don't have to do anything. You open up the brokerage account, our team will help you do that, and you park your funds there like you would a bank account, and his algorithm trades on all of the accounts. And so we can expect a 50 to 60% if it's anything like the previous average. But again, all the past performance never guarantees anything in the future. Just please be mindful of that. And then the last piece is our crypto fund. Now the crypto fund is very time sensitive. So a good friend of mine, Josh, who's handling the crypto fund, he's become an expert at this stuff. That's all he does every day. He goes and researches the top legitimate projects in crypto. To give you an example, in 2021, which was the last crypto bull run, Josh on his personal portfolio did over 8,000% that year. 8,600 to be exact. And so this was a kid that was 21 at the time and had his life savings in crypto and became a millionaire over that year of investing. And so just this last year, Josh told me, hey, I'm gonna do what I did last bull run, but I'm gonna open it to a few friends and family. I said, Josh, no problem, I trust you. I sent him the funds for myself, and then I said, Josh, I want to open this up to our entire community. He said, well, I don't know if legally that's a little tough. I said, don't worry, I'll work on that. And we created Divine Markets, which is a legal entity to be able to facilitate this, both the Forex fund and the crypto fund. And so we overcame that, and Josh is exclusively handling all the crypto for our community. And his target for the next year is 1,000%, about a 10x on the funds. And again, there's absolutely no guarantees. Please only risk what you can afford to risk. And so that's it. That's the overview. It's pretty simple. You got the affiliate partnership program, which again is just going to share the financial part with you so that you can actually create a network and an income for yourself while holding your light and sharing your light. Which, by the way, going through this process, we wouldn't be able to pay you to not tell people about it, because you're just going to be radiating and people are going to be attracted to you. And so we just wanted to create a system where we're all partners in this to reach that goal of 114 superheroes of light that are holding this and shifting humanity's consciousness. And so I welcome you to be a part of that vision and mission and part of our team. And I'm excited for you to go through your process. By the way, all of this financial part is only exclusively available to those of you that have gone through the process and committed to that. So it's not going to be available to anyone else. So what a bonus, what a reward for accessing your light and holding it, that you get access to an institutional trading fund that you wouldn't be able to get access to unless you had $250,000 and you're an accredited investor and all those things that the institutions look for. So we created a bridge for you on that. And the crypto fund, unless you know someone like Josh, and even if you did, it's not cheap or easy to get involved with those things. But we've made it easy for those of you that go through this process. It's a $500 minimum on the Forex fund, $500 minimum on the crypto fund. So that's it. I'm excited for you, and we'll see you on the other side.